All right, everyone, I've got a breaking news edition of WNY over the air. After nearly 70 years of a South Florida TV station having an ABC affiliation, they are now dropping it and opting to go fully independent, losing all of the ABC programming and focusing more on local news and journalism. So, if you don't already know, WPLG is a Miami based South Florida TV station that is owned by Berkshire Hathaway. It's the only TV station that Berkshire Hathaway owns. And it's actually an ATSC 3.0 station or a next gen TV station. But the actual programming aspect for their main channel, which is Channel 10, that's going to be switching and it's no longer going to be affiliated with ABC. But they're going to be keeping all of their local news. In fact, they're going to be reinvigorating it even more. And this could have a lot of repercussions across the country, not just here locally in Miami, but for the entire country for what happens to local broadcasters. I just want to share some of the rhetoric from WPLG themselves, and I find this very interesting what they said here.
We will make history and we will set the model for what television stations in the 21st century will look like.
So they said that they will set the model for what television stations in the 21st century will look like. And I find that very interesting because with Brendan Carr, who is the new main FCC commissioner, he has discussed less than a month ago about how he sees the future of local broadcasters, specifically getting rid of, or at least not emphasizing as much, the affiliation part, the part that's tied to an actual network, and reinvigorating that local aspect of television stations. So from this article from Variety, it says FCC Chief Brendan Carr wants to, quote, re-empower local TV stations and consider tighter regulations of social media giants. But if you scroll down here, I find this very interesting. He said, one thing that's been the guide star through the FCC's public interest standard is localism, serving the needs of your local community. Again, we've gotten so much national news media coming down from these national programmers into the local communities. I think I want to re-empower local news, local sports. I think that's a good thing. WPLG is almost the blueprint, if you will, for somebody like Brendan Carr. The station is completely ATSC 3.0. In fact, the station owner has completely ATSC 3.0 operations. They're not broadcasting using any other standard. And they're also dropping their affiliation and they're going fully into the local news programming aspect and some syndication of other shows. And with that being said from WPLG about how they will be almost like the benchmark, people will look to WPLG from across the country on how to operate their local station. I could see a lot of other station owners, particularly those with smaller station holdings, looking at WPLG and saying, how have they fared? How have things been going for them? And if they end up actually coming out of this pretty well, you may start to see other stations across the country mimic this model. And I think this is actually a really good thing. I care way more about the local news aspect of local stations. In this article from the desk, from a great reporter, Matthew Keys from the desk, something really interesting was brought up. WPLG said, quote, the programming we get from ABC is no longer the same as it has been in years past. Exclusivity, which is the core to our relationship, is disappearing. Even when ABC airs high quality programming like the Oscars, ABC airs that same programming on other platforms. We no longer feel we are getting what we pay for. Instead of sending our money to New York, we will keep it in our local community and use that money to finance a massive expansion of local news and other local programming. I love that idea. I love the idea of taking the money that you would have normally sent to the network to be affiliated and reinvesting your local news operations and reinvigorating it And honestly, they have really good local news ratings in the South Florida region. So them doing this, in my opinion, should turn out good for them. So that's really nice to see. But I think this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the current situation that we're in with the networks and the relationship to the stations. Because, they brought up the Oscars. If you can stream the Oscars live on Hulu or if you can stream it live on Disney Plus, what's the whole point of having your programming on a station and having them pay all that money when they can just, a subscriber in the region can just pay a couple bucks a month and get that for part of their programming? It doesn't make sense to continue operating like this, and especially how much money they were paying. They said in this article, they said that they would have had to lay off more employees in order to pay for the ABC network affiliation. And by dropping that ABC network affiliation, they're able to actually hire more employees to do more local journalism and more local news. Now, there's a couple things that need to be looked at that will be important. The first thing is the carriage agreements between all of the cable and satellite companies. As soon as this ABC affiliation is dropped, they're not going to want to carry WPLG at the same price that they were carrying it at before, because it no longer has sports. It no longer has all of that national programming. So there may be a situation where in the future we see a lot of carriage disputes, and you may see a scrolling ticker at the bottom of the screen on this new local independent station saying that a DirecTV or a Comcast is trying to drop Local 10 and stuff like that. So I could see this being, and as others have pointed out, I could see this being a reality. The other thing is for streaming providers, the way that the negotiations work, it's not done at the station level, it's done at the national network level. So basically, at this point, WPLG's former ABC affiliation is just going to be dropped to whoever the new ABC is going to be in Miami. So who's taking over the new ABC affiliate in Miami? Sunbeam Broadcasting, which owns the WSVN station, which is the Fox affiliate in the Miami market, they're going to be taking over the ABC affiliation and adding it to their WSVN station as subchannel 7.2. And it's going to be called ABC Miami. So they're going to have their Fox station as 7.1. 7.2 is going to be ABC. And I'm assuming that they're going to be having the WSVN staff also do local news for this 7.2 station. And it'll also be placed somewhere within the first dozen or so channels in the satellite guides and cable guides in the local Miami market. But as far as WPLG is concerned, WPLG's Channel 10, it'll still have all of the local news. It'll still have syndicated programs like Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and a few others. The only thing really that's going to be missing from this Channel 10 is going to be the ABC programming. It's going to be things like the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. programming. It's going to be the Good Morning America type stuff. And if you think about it, they're paying all of this money just for maybe 6 to 8 hours a day of programming from the national network, and then the rest is handled by themselves. So it'll be interesting to see how they do ratings-wise going forward, but I wish them all the best. From an engineering perspective, not really a whole lot has to change, because WPLG is actually an ATSC 3.0 station. So they're a lighthouse in the Miami market right now, carrying, believe it or not, WSVN's Fox affiliate, along with what used to be their ABC station, which is going to be changed over to an independent. They're going to have to carry the new ABC station 7.2 as an ATSC 3.0 channel, along with the other two, the Fox and their Local 10 independent, possibly along with some sub-channels as well. If I could talk directly to WPLG and the folks at WPLG, it would be nice if WPLG's main Local 10 channel did not have DRM encryption. You're already not adding DRM to your local 10 plus programming on the ATSC 3.0 transmission. But since the majority of your programming is going to be local programming, I don't think there's a better way to serve your local community than to actually offer the entire channel without any sort of DRM encryption attached. And I think that would be the cherry on top to serving your local community. Hopefully your syndication agreements with some of these other shows like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune would allow that. If they do, and there's really nothing holding you back, I would love, and this would be a great opportunity to drop DRM encryption from that local 10 channel and allow it to be free and accessible over there in Miami. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think other stations in the country will see this as an opportunity to see what happens with WPLG? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you have any other questions, feel free to put them down there as well. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.